Wonderful. So I am Sherry Reichert Belul, and my book is Say It Now. And I am so happy to be here. We have Sam and Susie and Bridget. And thank you guys for being here. I know that you guys have some really wonderful things to share. And that's actually, how we're going to start today is I'm just going to ask each one of you to introduce yourselves and to hold up your book and tell us the name of your book and the subtitle, and then also to let us know where you're from and also what you've been doing right now that's been really helping you take care of yourself and to offer yourself care and compassion. So Sam, why don't we start with you?
All right. I'm Sam Beasley. I'm co-author of Your Life is Your Prayer, and I wrote it with BJ Gallagher. And I am a businessman and from Seattle and California. And when we weren't in stay at home, I commuted back and forth. And let's see, what am I doing for self-care? One of the things I've really loved doing is I'm an extrovert and I love to be with people. And I've been roasting coffee and sending part of the batches to people I like, and then when they get it, I grind my part, they grind their part, and we have video coffee together. And that's been really wonderful, really, really wonderful. And it's just great to sit with them, and it's pretty close to in person. And I'm grateful for coffee, friends, and Zoom. So, yeah. So,
Sam, I love that so much. That is beautiful. I love the fact, so you roast your own beans?
I do, and I'll roast them however you'd like and send you some.
Oh, I hope that was a personal invitation, because I'm
absolutely was. Yeah.
If it were. I
Yeah.
love coffee, and it's funny because I've been having coffee clutches with friends, but we each bring our own coffee. But I love that you're sharing a coffee that is actually sent to them. That's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you. Hey, Susie, how about you? Will you introduce yourself?
I'm definitely stealing that, Sam. I love that. I cannot roast my own coffee, but I love the idea of something arriving in the mail, grinding it together and doing it. Hi, I'm Susie Rinehart, and my book is called Fierce Joy: Choosing Brave Over Perfect to Find My True Voice. And what is keeping me really happy and sort of, riding this thing out is we do a sing-along in the street in our neighborhood where every Wednesday, I think it was actually first started by the Berkeley Music Circus. We have a lot of little kids on our street, and so with very good physical and social distancing, we get together every Wednesday at noon and sing a song. Today was Lean on Me. And it's great because I've been learning the ukulele to be able to sort of lead this band of singers, and that has been so fun, both the learning the ukulele, but really the voice, like the singing, has been just exceptional and fun with the neighborhood. That's been great.
Susie, that too. I love this. I mean, both of you are sharing things that I haven't heard anybody share before, which makes it extra fun, right? That there's so many new innovative things people are doing. Are you by any chance videotaping any of it to share? Or is it?
I have one video from today. In the past, I couldn't figure out how to play the ukulele, sing and video, but a neighbor did today. So she sent me some video, and I'll send that out.
Yeah.
Next Wednesday at noon, we're going to sing by the kids requested Hakuna Matata from the Lion King. Join us.
It sounds beautiful. Yeah, I definitely would love to see that. Sounds like it would be really uplifting. I too am trying to learn the ukulele, so I'm going to be very inspired by you. I know, just watching you. So
awesome.
Great. Thank you. Hey, Bridget.
Hi. These are great ideas. I'm just wondering how I can get on the coffee mailing list. And no singing, that's just so great. This is so wonderful to hear such creative ideas. I, have been sitting with the thought that although this is a difficult time for us, there will be so much creativity that comes out of this.
Yeah.
We have time to really be with ourselves and explore. So I am Bridgit Jackson Buckley, the author of The Gift of Crisis, How I Used Meditation to Go from Financial Failure to a Life of Purpose. And while I haven't been roasting my own coffee and singing in the street, I've been doing simple things when the rain subsides, like taking a walk. And I've been actually taking my iPad and taking photographs of nature that really, really speaks to me. That's just beautiful. And in my mind, I'm thinking something like Coronavirus Diaries, but it's not, it's just something that I just felt like doing, that's all. And of course, journaling. I'm doing a lot of journaling. I have a gratitude journal and a journal that I do just for expressive writing to just work through the emotions of it all, on top of homeschooling.
Wow. How many children and how old are they?
Well, we have 3 children. One is in college, so it's distance learning, and then one in high school and one in middle school.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
we got it all covered.
You do. Yeah. And so I also love your idea. So you're taking out the iPad and you're taking photographs.
Yeah, because normally, just being a writer, I'm a writer, and just, it's a very sedentary practice, a sedentary lifestyle. So normally during the day, while the kids were in school, I would go for a walk. And what I've noticed during the walk is obviously there are a few more people out walking, but it seems like the connection and the eye contact is much stronger.
Mm.
Prior to this, people seem like they would kind of go out of their way to just avoid you or, just not really saying anything, but everyone is saying hello. And it feels so encouraging and just so heartwarming. And so I just thought I wanted to get more into photography. So why not take my iPad and just start taking pictures of things that speak to me?
I love that. Oh, that's beautiful. That too, is something, really creative that other people listening or watching the replay later. I mean, all of those things are such great ideas. Thank you. Yeah. I can't remember if I shared this last week or not, but I'm going to say, because it's what's delighting me right now in the midst of so much that's hard, which is that some of you may know that the Getty Museum has put out a call to people to recreate their paintings. Since nobody can go to the museum, they've asked people using just a few items at home to recreate their paintings. And so some of the people that I'm closest with were using this as a way to kind of have fun together and to laugh. And so I just did my second one. So you just recreate a painting. The one I did was did a painting, and then I just did a photograph the other day. And it's just really silly, but really something fun. And we're sharing the photos on text. And so just another thing that's out there that I know a lot of people are participating. Oh, thank you for bringing your dog, Elise. That's so great. So yeah. Well, I'd love to go around and ask our wonderful authors. I know you all have so much wisdom, both in your books and just from your life stories. And just to have you share maybe what you think might be something that would be really helpful for people to hear right now. So why don't we start with you, Susie? And you can let us know what you're thinking about.
Sure. A couple of things. My book was sparked by a diagnosis that I received and what I have is an incurable form, a rare form of cancer all down my spine and around my brainstem. And so for me, in some ways, living in isolation is what I've been doing for years when I have to go into chemotherapy and radiation. And so just like Bridgit said, one thing that has been incredibly helpful for me is to do something creative. And for me, that is journaling, as she said, and writing down, because it's simple. It's something that doesn't require a lot of space or equipment. So I've started a 30-day journaling challenge that people can sign up for on my website and start anytime. And the journaling prompts that I deliver each day are just to get people to accept the new reality, to get out of the old idea that we're just going to hurry up, overcome this, and go back to normal, and instead get into sort of a creative space of how can I accept what I have, look around, see what I've got, and make something new out of this and transform, so that when we do maybe go back to normal, we actually can transform into a version of ourselves that we might even love more, one that is focused on relationships and on joy rather than fear.
Wow, Susie, that is so beautiful. I just love everything about that. I love that you're supporting people in doing this, right, with this journaling challenge. So you're kind of there by people's side, but also that attitude that you're bringing to it, that it's like that we can transform this into something, like you said, like we could very well love ourselves even more and be more connected to the people in our lives and to the joy in our life. Oh, I love that. So,
and just a little addition, which is fun, all the retirement homes, I'm thinking of you, Bridget, especially, all the retirement homes here in Boulder, Colorado are jumping on board the journaling challenge. And so now all these retirees who are in isolation are feeling less alone. And that was a surprise. I didn't realize, and I'm loving that piece. So that's fun.
Oh, that is wonderful. Oh, Susie, thank you so much.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, you know, hopefully you can come back in and maybe post that link so that it's with the replay, so that people want to jump in your challenge.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll write a note so I prompt you to do that too, but that'd be wonderful.
Sure.
I love that. How about you, Bridget? What would you like to share from your book or just from your heart right now?
First, to Susie, I do follow you on Facebook, and I have seen your journal writing challenge. You do have some inspirational prompts. It looks great. And I also am a huge advocate of journaling. But one thing I'll say before I get into journaling is that oftentimes, you know, you hear there's so much information circulating, and you hear suggestions of what you can do to ease anxiety, to calm yourself, just basic things like deep breathing, walking, grounding yourself, connecting with nature, meditation. And I think sometimes because you hear it so much, it can just go in one ear and out the other, because they may appear to be too simplistic for the large scale problems that we're thinking of. And so it's easy to overlook them. And also, if you're someone who actually has some spiritual practice in place, you may think, well, I'm kind of beyond journaling. I don't really need all that. But what I'm finding in this time of being home is that it's like the re's are in full effect: reassess, reevaluate, reconnect for every single person. Because even though I am someone that has had journals since I was in the 4th grade and still have every single one of them, as I talk about in the book, I haven't really felt compelled to do a whole lot beyond journaling. Like, I've been writing in my journal, like I'm not writing any articles. I've been writing in my journal every single day and really visiting, like, what's coming through my dreams? How am I feeling? Noticing with my kids and my husband, am I holding the space? Are they worried? Just really writing out what I'm observing and really being present with the moment. Because things are so fast in our world, and all of a sudden everything has come to a grinding stop. So it's really forcing and inviting everybody to truly be present and to be with themselves. And that's not going to be the easiest thing for everyone, but it is an opportunity to really just kind of go in and see what's there, what's important, what's trying to come up, what's trying to get your attention, what you can explore. And journaling is paramount in helping with that, because it's really like a free-for-all. You can do whatever you want with it. Like, even though I am completely familiar with gratitude journals, I mean, I haven't done a gratitude journal in a while, but when the shelter in place took effect, I had just purchased a gratitude journal because I thought, let me just try it. And so then I thought, okay, every morning of the shelter in place, I'm going to wake up three things, that I'm grateful for. So I love that, just noticing what I'm grateful for and how they change. And then maybe later on that night, when things have settled down, I'll do the expressive journal writing after like a meditation and prayer, of really just kind of writing out just what I feel. And it feels very cathartic. So it's just important to really be mindful of just being present with yourself, being compassionate and gentle with yourself, and just paying attention to what's on your heart and what's really kind of calling you, while at the same time eliminating the shoulds. I should be working on a book. I should be posting to Medium every day. I should be painting the bedroom, and just kind of be with yourself. I mean, we are truly in the unknown, but that could be a wonderful opportunity.
Wow. Bridgit, I love that you kind of model, this is the first time we've met, but you have this wonderful sort of groundedness and calmness that I feel it sort of models what you're talking about, this presence. You know, I can tell you've obviously practiced a lot at being present and mindful. And it's beautiful, the gentleness that you're bringing into this conversation too. You know, that reminder to really like get quiet and know what's true for each of us. So beautiful. And using, you know, something like the journaling as a tool for that, you know, just like Susie was saying too. Yeah, that's really beautiful. Thank you for bringing that aspect in.
One last thing that I'll say, Sherry, is that, I mean, it's one thing to read about spiritual practices. It's a totally different thing to live it. It's a totally different thing. And one last thing that I forgot to mention that is really important is to really pay attention to where your attention is. We do want to be informed. We want to know what's going on to preemptively take care of ourselves, you know, and everyone else around us. But you do need to pay attention if you're kind of allowing yourself to being pulled around with headlines and news reports. It can really pull you down if you're not someone who's kind of grounded and steeped in, you know, your own internal knowing, I'd say. Journaling again helps with that.
And what a great point, though. I mean, I love that you said that. You know, reading about spiritual practice is not the same as practicing it. And it also reminds me of something you said a few minutes ago, which is that, you know, there's that possibility of, yeah, I know I should meditate, or yeah, I know about gratitude. But one of my mentors, Brendan Richert, always says, common sense is not always common practice. And so we say these things and we know these things, but it is a whole different thing when you practice them. You see the transformation that happens. So I'm really glad that you brought that up, you know, because these are the times that some of these really foundational spiritual practices can really, truly support us. So absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Hey, Sam, how about you? What would you like to share with us?
Well, let's see. It would be simple in this life that we're living right now, the shelter-in-place life. It would be simple to project that no good could come of this. You know, it's a dramatic change, and it would, you know, nobody really wanted this. Well, I've met a couple of people who said they think they're better at quarantine life than real life, you know, so, but generally I think, you know, nobody chose this. It's just here. And so just being aware of remembering that I don't really have any reason to think that this isn't the beginning of something glorious. It may well be. And, you know, 4 weeks ago, as the virus was taking over, my business is closed. And all of a sudden we were declared essential, and we converted to telehealth. And so we own businesses now that I never expected to own and didn't own 4 weeks ago, and they're operating and they're providing a great service. And so that's just, I just would never have expected that. And it's a thing I just try to remember, you know, as, you know, Bridgit was talking about reading the headlines and the effect that can have. And it's just a thing I try to remember to say, and what good can come of this, you know? And so I'm going to, I'd like to read just a little excerpt, a little part of a paragraph here that comes from Your Life is Your Prayer. It says, I see that these worst things were the beginning of the most powerful changes in my life. From those glorious moments, this wonderful life emerged. I can't imagine how I might have arrived here any other way. From this perspective, those worst things were the best things that ever happened to me. They were the path for me, and I see them now as gifts from the divine. I can see now that I was on track, and I've always been on track, and there's nothing to worry about. And it's just a thing that I keep trying to remember. There have been many moments in my life that felt like train wrecks and that I was off the track. But here I am, here I am, loved and loving, peaceful, giving, in service, having a joyful life. And, if I had taken you back to those moments when it felt like the trains ran off the track, none of us would have said, boy, does he have a good future ahead, but that turns out that's what happened. And so it's just a thing I try to remember. And I when it's appropriate, I try to remind my friends of is that we don't know what's coming. It might be glorious.
Oh, Sam, thank you. And thank you for choosing, being thoughtful enough to bring that passage, which was just very much appropriate and beautiful. And I love what you're saying. I have already seen, we all know the side. We've all read the headlines and we know about the deaths and the loss of income. And there is that side, obviously. And I have so much respect and honor everyone who's going through that. And there's so much good happening. There's so much, I think we probably all are experiencing like Bridgit was saying, right? The people, you're passing people on the street and we're smiling at each other. And there's this shared sense of humanity. There's a way in which we've all looked up from our phones and I think are seeing one another again, for people, oh yeah, there's just the most glorious of humanity is showing up right now too. Yeah. So, and I love also how that ties into what Susie was saying a little bit ago. How will this transform us? And we can keep our eye on that side of things if we choose. Yeah. I'd love to know if anybody, and we can open this up to anybody who's joining us too, if you have something that came up for you around something that one of the other authors shared or something that's just you would like to share. If you're muted, you can unmute yourself by clicking on the little microphone that is on your panel, your Brady Bunch panel. But yeah, I'd love to hear if anybody just has anything they want to say.
Well, I'll share. So I really resonated with what everyone's saying, but something about the time to reassess really hit me. And I'm wondering if you find yourself in a place where during reassessment, you feel like things are slightly out of balance and off track. Do the authors have suggestions how to realign gently and in a calm manner?
Great question. Thank you, Debbie.
Sure.
I can start. I think for me, I'll say, okay, so, when you're going through difficult times, sometimes it's really hard to see that there could possibly be a gift or, like Sam pointed out, some sort of opportunity. That was so beautiful and appropriate the way Sam worded it, that there is so much opportunity there and that it is in our best interest, if we can, to really sit in the space of possibility, and that we don't know everything. We can't know everything. All that we have at our disposal is the present moment right now. And speaking to that, after I've had some space from when we went through the difficult time, the hardship, now I'm in a space where I can be even more grateful for the difficult times we had, the hardships that we had, because those experiences have informed me now so that I'm not being pulled around by the collective fear and the individual fear that's coming up through a lot of individuals. There's a lot of fear on the planet. The energy is strong with fear. So sometimes some things are coming up are yours and sometimes it's more collective. But what I found is important to me in the midst of feeling like, okay, even I am having to reevaluate and reassess. It's just coming up, but I don't feel like anything is out of alignment. Because just as Sam said, you could think logically that something is wrong, out of alignment, but you really have no idea of what it's leading to or what authentically is trying to emerge through that experience. So in that, what's important to do is to truly be with your heart as best as you can. And that is what I think the reconnection is, because Sherry said that there's a lot of good coming out of this. And when you said that, I thought, this is such a heart-opening event because it's taking people directly to the heart, where people are being pulled out of only being concerned with their individual needs and wants and looking to people around them, in addition to making sure that they're okay. So if something is coming up to be reassessed or reevaluated, just simply, I think you could just be with your heart and just sit with it and just see what's there and look at it more from a place of curious exploration as opposed to something's wrong, something is out of alignment. Just like, why do I feel like taking pictures of flowers on my walk? I don't know, I'll just do it. See where it goes. It doesn't have to lead to some monetary end or some best-selling book deal, because a lot of times we want to attach something to it where we think it may lead us, when it's really beneficial to just be with it. Be with it. And this is such an opportunity for us in the quiet of our homes to just be with ourselves, be with our curiosities, and just be with whatever is coming up.
I'd like to respond too. So
Yeah, let me quickly just
go ahead.
thank you to that, because wow, Bridget, that was so beautiful. And I could tell, like, you know, straight from the heart. Thank you for that. Yeah, Sam, please jump right in.
Yeah, we don't really need to fear the future. And but it does pop up, and probably pops up a lot right now, you know, just fearing the future. And so if we happen to notice that that's come up, we just need to give ourselves an alternative experience. And a really great one is just look for anything that we appreciate, and or anything that gives us joy, even if it's to walk around the room. Like right now, of course, I'm looking at the screen and I really appreciate that I'm in this group, and I love that raspberry color behind Debbie there. And I'm looking, I can see out the window and there's a little breeze blowing through the trees, and the sky is blue, and I'm going to go for a walk after this. And there's just so many things to appreciate. And so I can take myself from fear of the future to really immersed in a kind of love and joy in a moment, just a moment, you know. And now I've had a little practice at it, but I didn't always have a little practice at it. And what allowed it is practice. And so yeah, it's a thing. And then one other thing is, say, what does this new situation have me wanting? And really think about that. What does it have me wanting? Like, I can give you an example. My arms ache to hug my friends. I just know, I notice that, you know, so I so look forward to hugging them when this all ends. And my arms ache to, like, pick up my grandchildren and squeeze them a little. And, you know, so this has me wanting things that when I think of them, they're really joyful. And yeah, so that's what.
Oh my goodness, so many great things in what you just said. You know, I just want to underscore two, which is one is that beautiful practice, you know, and I love that you use that word, right? To practice. It's a practice to come to the moment. It's a practice to see the wind on the little yellow flowers outside. It's just a practice, and to be gentle with ourselves as we're practicing. But that a tiny moment can make such a difference. You know, one tiny moment of noticing, it can change our whole outlook. And then the other thing is, I love what you just did about, you know, noticing what our heart wants, or I forget, is that how you said it? Noticing
what this has me wanting.
What this has me wanting.
Yeah.
Beautiful language, and that using that not to go to a place of scarcity, which is, you know, I love that what you did. You didn't take us to a place of scarcity, like, oh, I can't hug my grandchildren, but like, wow, I love these grandkids so much, and I can feel that love in my heart as I'm noticing wanting them. That's what I was projecting you were doing. It was from a place of love and abundance.
Yes.
So thank you. Thanks so much. Wow.
And Debbie, I just want to respond to something that I was maybe sensing, which is the reassessment, this piece of like, uh-oh, when we go back, I'm not sure I want to go back to the way I've been running my life, maybe at 100 miles an hour, maybe moving so fast that all we have are bugs in our teeth. We're moving that fast. And I'm a wellness coach, and I have clients who are actually now shifting. Their fears are about, all this time, I'm actually liking that I don't have these obligations. I don't have to go to these events or be on these boards or constantly be doing all these different things. And so how do I return in a way that feels more true to me? And so in addition to what Sam and Bridget said about that idea of just like listening, and I love that idea of being curious and exploring and not having the pressure of it has to be something financial or a product or a book that comes out of it. I think for me, I love this phase as being the phase where we're in the cocoon, right? Like we are the caterpillar. We're now in our chrysalis. We're in the cocoon. And everything in there is dissolved. Like I didn't even know that before, that the caterpillar actually completely dissolves inside that cocoon before it comes out as a butterfly. But we're super uncomfortable with dissolving. We don't want to like that pain of completely breaking down in order to come out as something more beautiful. And so I think one of the things we have to do is get really comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's actually what you're doing right now. And that will serve you as you decide with all these obligations that start coming back in, okay, do I want this? Do I not want this? As Sam says, can I continue to say no to that obligation and see how my life feels a little more spacious and feel okay that the world won't hate me kind of thing if I say no to that thing. So using our voices now to really practice, what do I want to do with the listening, like Bridget says, and then practicing like, okay, how can I say no to certain things coming up to keep a pace that feels more sustainable, and try something that's a little scary, a little new, that's coming my way that I can't think of right now because I'm just thinking about money because I'm out of a job, but rather like, what have I always wanted to do? And how could I make baby steps towards that now so that I can come out as the butterfly?
Wow, thank you.
Debbie, did you have anything to say to all this beautiful wisdom that just came forth from these amazing authors?
What she said. Beautiful.
Oh, Debbie, you're muted. Let me unmute you. There you are.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm just so touched. I had a tear in my eye. I was just so deeply affected by what everyone said and the beautiful suggestions. And I do feel like I am kind of in my caterpillar phase, and that something will come out of it. And I just really resonated. So thank you, everyone, for sharing.
Thanks for that great question.
Yeah.
Susie, I didn't have a chance to respond, but I just wanted to really appreciate you too for bringing in, which I think is a really welcome suggestion and encouragement to people that, hey, you know, you don't have to just go back to how everything was, you know, that in the way that you said it was so beautiful, like, you know, to just spend this time maybe now while we're still sheltering in place to consider, you know, how am I feeling about this or that? Or, you know, this is a great time. I've been doing that myself, like thinking of, you know, when everything hopefully someday will open up again, you know, what do I want to put back on my calendar? And what things am I ready to just say, that was great, and it's time for something new. So thank you.
Wouldn't that be amazing if we all did that? Like, if we really genuinely said, what does 75% look like? Or 60%, you know, of us, all the stuff we were doing.
Oh,
What can we cut? Because we don't love this necessarily, but what's a nice middle ground?
I love that. I love that.
My guess is if we had a bulletin board and like Susie could put up there and say, I would like to let go of 25% of my work doing this. Somebody will be standing there going, that's exactly what I wanted. You know, so that if we were all putting those things on that bulletin board, I want to let go of this and I want to take this, you know, that a balance would take place. So,
Oh,
I
what
I
a
really suspect that's true. So.
Oh, I love that, Sam. What a beautiful thing to consider. Yeah. How about you, Bridget? Is anything else coming up around all this?
Oh yeah, I mean, Susie is right on. She's right on point. I mean, and she kind of, well, because I was literally just reading something maybe about 2 days ago, and I had that same thought, like, oh my gosh, we are like the goo in the chrysalis. We will be coming out as the butterflies, but even that won't be the end. It's a continual unfoldment. But when Susie talked about reevaluating, so this is also bringing up things that you didn't even know you needed to reevaluate or would even want to. Let me not use the word need, but want to. And one of the things that I found in writing 3 things that I'm grateful for in my gratitude journal upon awakening in the morning is that for probably 10 days straight, on my list was quiet in the morning. I didn't even realize like how much the noise was bothering me until it disappeared. And it has just completely changed something for me. I don't know what, but now what I'm reassessing is how am I going to go back to the noise, to the traffic, to the congestion? I mean, just so much noise that it makes it difficult to even think. And like now, because it's so quiet, whether I'm inside or outside, I can think or just, you know, just be in the moment, as to where before, when you go outside, just living in a major city like Los Angeles, you're just like hit as soon as you walk out the door.
Yeah.
It was the gratitude journal that brought up the idea of even reevaluating. I really do like calm, quiet silence. Like, I don't know if it means country life. I don't know what it means, but it has just really brought it to my attention.
That is beautiful. You know, I love that because you have been, you know, this whole time on this call advocating for what happens when we get quiet, what happens when we look, what happens when we ask ourselves these questions. And then now here you are sharing already, like, wow, this is something I saw. I didn't even expect that. I was doing my gratitude journal, but I had this great insight about who I am and what, you know, how will I have more quiet in my life? How am I going to give this to myself? You know, emerges. It's beautiful. Yeah. And one thing that came up for me, because we've all been talking about the caterpillar, and I was talking to a scientist the other day, we were on a call, and she too was bringing up the metaphor because I think it's such an apt one right now. She was saying something, an aspect of this that I'd never heard before, I don't know if you guys have, which was that actually some of the cells, when that whole cocooning is happening and the ooze and the dissolving, that there are some of the cells that are resisting it. That not all of the cells are just like going along with this transformation. And she was saying, you know, isn't that how it works, right? There's parts of us that are kind of like, no, I don't want to, you know. I just love that, you know, and I'm gonna guess it's true because she was a scientist, but even if it's not, it was a great metaphor. And so, you know, we were talking earlier about the uncomfortableness too, you know, of this and allowing ourselves the gentleness of that uncomfortableness. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sam, I have a question. You used to commute Seattle, California all the time. And although that may have given you a lot, is there any part of you that wants to change how often you did that now, or?
Oh yeah, and what we were just talking about. I mean, I'm going to speak as an older person now. There's part of me that, and it's really come up in this shelter in place thing is, I just want to get in the motorhome with my wife and drive away. You know, and I kind of like this. This moment of stillness. I kind of like it. And then there's another part of me that's going, no, 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 my work is everything, and so it's just that moment of it, I assume this happens to lots of older people of making that transition from the life I've known for the last 40 years to the life I want now. And yes, absolutely, I will be going less. Absolutely. And I can say I have a real goal now of wrapping up my work there.
Wow.
And I can think of it a different way of saying, what do I want to do for the next 5 years? And honestly, I want that work to go on, but I don't want to be the one doing it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thanks. Thank you, Susie, for asking that.
Mhm.
I have another question for our authors that just dropped in. You all have your books in front of you. And I didn't tell you to do this, but I'm wondering if each of you might want to just open up your book to some part that you feel, should be brought into the conversation right now. Something maybe that either we haven't touched on or we have touched on, but you really want to underscore it. Not to put any pressure on you, but I just thought it'd be fun to bring your books back into the conversation.
No, I'm ready.
Go, Susie. I love it.
This is for anyone who's trying to homeschool children right now. Anyway, why I say that is because the shelter in place has brought up issues of control for me. It's incredible to me how when everybody is in the home trying to do school and I try to create a schedule and I get frustrated that the kids aren't following their schedule, then I realize that I'm actually frustrated that I'm not following my schedule and I'm not working out as much or, doing all the things that I thought I could be doing right now. I realize that it all begins with me and sort of some issues I have around who's in charge, right? And that there is great freedom in recognizing that I'm not in charge and I can let go. But in the moment of trying to get everybody doing their homework, it feels like an incredible, anxious disturbance. So this is just a moment when I'm dealing with my diagnosis. And so I say, I noticed something important. My desire to control how life should be is another form of perfectionism. When I aim my perfectionism at myself, it's about not being good enough. I'm making good progress here. Most days I think I'm cured of my perfectionism. I procrastinate less and take more risks. I don't need to please others as much anymore. I write and I post my work publicly. But when I turn my gaze outward, my perfectionism is about everyone and everything else not being good enough. It's all about control. I have to accept that I'm not in charge. And that makes the world and my life too uncertain for my taste. My taste is to hold the steering wheel and the GPS on life's winding road. But can I make friends with a world that is dangerous and out of my control? Can I accept that life is uncertain and maybe not what I expected or wanted? Can I admit that I'm sad and I'm angry about not being in charge?
Oh, that was perfect. I don't know how you found that like that in a moment's notice. Thank you.
Homeschooling.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be of great comfort to many people. I mean, I'm not homeschooling because my son is 20, but I could certainly relate that to many areas of my own life. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Bridgit, do you have a passage for us? Or just
I do. I found, I had to flip through because I'm like, okay, there are several things that I could say, but what has been coming through really strongly for me in meditation recently, and even over the past couple of months, is to really, and actually what I write whenever I sign the book for someone, is to be with your heart. Earlier, this really can be, and it feels like it is, a heart-opening event where you can be with your heart as best as you can. And it doesn't mean to be like sappy and syrupy, but it means like you can speak from your heart in your actions, in your ways of being, in words that you use, the choices you make. There's so many ways to really be with your heart. And what I have in the book is when I go into a meditative state and just pose a question, like my journaling practice when I was writing the book was to just, well, I still do it, was to just write what comes through in that meditation. And one thing that I have in the book is entitled Speak from Your Heart. And so I'll read from that now because it goes with what I just said. Lastly, no matter how difficult you may feel it is, find the words to say what is in your heart. Speak from your heart to your husband, your children, your parents, your friends, to yourself, and those you do not know. Speak from your heart through your actions, through service to others, through your writing, and through your energy field. Let your heart serve as your compass for where you need to go, what you need to do, and how you need to be. There is no better way to live than to lead a life that is directed solely by your heart and all its goodwill. Within your heart, there is no room for worry, doubt, or shortcomings. There is only space for love. The love within you is seeking to express itself, which is why you always intuitively know what to do. Let love lead you because it will not lead you astray. You may not understand the path of your heart, but it is always leading with, through, and for love. Let it be.
Oh. Wow. Thank you.
With your heart.
Thank you. I love that you keep sort of echoing this message for us. You know, it's so important. And that was beautiful. And it is such a delight to get to hear the actual words from your book. So thank you. Yeah, thanks. Sam, how about you?
Sure. Yeah. One of the things I've had the experience of is unconsciously praying for exactly what I don't want. And I don't just pray it, I chant it, over and over and over again. And, I want to make sure it's really entrenched in there, but we can actually change that. And so I'm just going to read a little passage about that. It says, when it comes to healing an old habit of praying for what you don't want, there's nothing so powerful as showing yourself you misunderstood the truth. Show yourself that there is time to have what you want. Show yourself that you can do what you want, and the world will still survive. Time spent frustrated can be replaced with time spent fulfilled. Make time to be fulfilled. You're worth it, and make that your new prayer. I have time to be fulfilled. I have time to do what I love. I have time to do what I want. I love doing what I love. I appreciate having time. I have time.
Oh,
So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Thank you. And what a great reminder. I loved this when you and I had a previous conversation, right? That reminder that a lot of times we're sort of unconsciously praying for what we don't want, by thinking about it all the time and talking about it all the time. And what a beautiful reminder that we can turn that. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I just wanted to say, because it was just dropping in, I'm not going to read from my book, but that for me, the piece that I want to bring in is simply what the title of my book is, which is Say It Now. And I'm always sort of pleading with people way before this crisis and probably way after it to express our love, even though it feels often sometimes vulnerable to do. My book is full of creative ways that people can do this, so it feels playful and simple. But now more than ever, I think we're all seeing the impact of, we're all stopping. And I think everybody I know, at least, is so much more appreciating the people in their lives than they were 3 months ago, because really understanding what's so valuable and what's so important in our lives. And so that's all. I just wanted to make sure that I brought that piece in because it's what's always so near and dear to me, which is to just say out loud what it is that we love about people, why we love them. You know, if we're on the phone with somebody and they make us laugh, to make sure that we pause and say, I love that you always make me laugh. It's something that you've done all your life. And, you know, those simple moments of really pausing the conversation to appreciate. So that's just what I wanted to bring in from Say It Now.
Nice.
Thanks. So we have a few minutes. I'm curious if we have any other questions from our guests who are here, or if our authors have something that has come up for you over the last few minutes.
It was just really nice to hear. I mean, to hear the other perspectives. It's so nice. I mean, it just shows how connected we all really are. I mean, there's so much similarity in what's coming through each of us. See it reiterated, because you may think, well, I'm just saying the same thing that it's already been said, but you need to say it still, because we're each creative in our own way. And our creative input is so valuable, because sometimes you can say something like maybe what Sam said or Susie said that touches someone in a way that needs to touch them right at that moment. So it's just nice to hear the other perspective.
Hallelujah to that, right? I know. And I think also the fact that I know in my own life, I have a mindfulness practice I've been doing for 30 years. My teacher said the same thing for 30 years. I need to hear it over and over and over again. And, you know, I need the reminders. I need to, and hearing, like you were saying too, looking at all your beautiful faces and seeing, you know, or feeling your energy. And it is so important, the different nuances that people bring. So thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. It was very inspirational and I enjoyed it very much. And I hope you do it again.
Oh, we'll be back. Come join us again next week, Suzanne.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being here. That's so sweet.
I have something that actually something Susie said reminded me of it. It is my favorite prayer and my favorite prayer in the book. It's vanish the ticking clock. There is time to love. If a timer chimes, make it time to sing. When I'm rushing around, make me rush to serve. And when I look back in time, may I look back in love.
Ah, wow. Thank you. Yeah. Susie.
Wow. I love that. Make me rush to serve.
Make me rush to serve. Yeah.
You know, and that's yeah. I actually feel very moved right now, because sometimes I feel silly, like my practices of a gratitude journal or of listening to what my heart says. When I say it out loud, I sometimes feel like, no, that's what I do, and it really does help me. But I feel sometimes like it sounds more woo-woo than I'm comfortable with. But it is very much what I think we all need to do in order to connect with our unique selves and what we have to offer the world. Otherwise, we're all walking around like little clones of each other. And the world just needs us not to be clones, but to just really listen and then act on what we feel, and hopefully rush to serve as an action. That'd be great.
Yeah. And thanks, you know, to you, Susie, but also, you know, to everyone here today, you know, for that courage, because it does take some courage to get on the video and say what's true for you. You know, I think, you know, no matter how comfortable any of us may be, I still think there's an act of courage there. And it is an act of service too, right? And it's an act of service for people who show up to be here and ask questions and enjoy the conversation. And even for people who, you know, may not be on video. And Robin, I'm waving at you. Someday you're going to show me who you are. But just to be here because we feel your energy. We feel that you're here listening and caring and wanting to be a part of this conversation.
Yes.
I'm a professional lurker, guys. I'm sorry.
I thought you were going to just go off the call when I was like, oh no, I made her leave. I'm so happy.
Hi, Robin.
You were doing some fine lurking.
but I really mean that, you know, right? So even if you're not saying anything and we don't get to see your beautiful face, which we now do, we feel you, and it matters. And people taking the time, you know, all of you taking the time to be here, and the people who will watch this later, it's so important. It really matters.
It is.
Yeah, yeah. And so, I want to end by also to our Mango folks who are here, for all your support. I'm so glad I can look at you now. See, you're both where I'm looking. You're both right here together, so I can just look at you. Thank you. You know, you guys have been so supportive. You show up for us. You also have collected the most fabulous. Look at these authors, like the most fabulous people. Right? I have not met one author from Mango who I didn't just immediately love, right? As soon as I saw them or met them. So thank you.
Yeah. And thank you, Sherry. It's like, you know, I was nervous about doing this, and this was just very, very fun and such a gift. So thank you to all the authors, to Mango, and to you, Sherry.
Yeah, nice to be with you.
Yeah. Well, come back. You know, we're doing it every Wednesday. So come meet your fellow authors, and everybody has so many beautiful things to say. And like Bridget, I love that you shared that, Bridget, you know, that it's like, maybe we're all talking about the same thing. Maybe some of it's the same. It feels fresh. It feels different. It hits home in a different way. So yeah, I hope we'll see you guys and one of the next Wednesdays.
Thank you so much, Sherry.
Sure.
Thank you guys. Be well, be safe. Robin, thank you. Special thanks for showing up on video. Come back and lurk next week. Okay.
Take care, everybody.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.